Yep. Thanks, everybody. Good to have you here. Appreciate you coming in. You can see we've got some guests coming in who are going to give us a wonderful session. So I'm thrilled to be able to have them here. Similar format in the sense of being able to use the chat box, going ahead and use that to ask questions. I know that Gaby will be, I'll introduce everybody here in just a minute, but Gabriella Jordan will be able to sort of facilitate some conversation. So we're thrilled to be able to have a couple of folks here from the Handel Group. So Jenny Morrison was a faculty member with us at the Bush School and currently serves as the Director of Programming for the Handel's Education Division. She comes 20 years career in management, public service. So Jenny and I have had a chance to be able to work together for a number of years. So it's a joy that Jenny to be able to help facilitate that over in Austin. So it's affiliated with the LBJ school, but also here at A&M. Proud to have taught and developed a number of things in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. Oh, look at that, Jenny. I did not know you are a proud Texan. I did not know that was part of your Austin resident, single mom, 8 and 10-year-old girls, and so wonderful kids. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to have. Our other speaker today is Gabriella Jordan. She's a principal at the Handel Group Education Division, has a deep passion for empowering parents, students, administrators, faculty across all levels of education. Executive coach, trained individuals and teams that are over 25 years, so we're in for a treat today. She serves as the Senior Vice President for Handel's corporate division as well, and we're since 2006. Coached executives, managers, entrepreneurs, so Gabby comes with a tremendous amount of expertise. She's led programming, 50 universities, educational institutions, including MIT, London School of Economics, Stanford, and now Texas A&M University. Pleased to be able to add that to the list. She's also delivered programming at the University of Texas, Austin, where Jenny and Gaby met during a long partnership to bring better humanizing to the field of education. Gabby is the mother of 2 grown children and lives in New York City. So Jenny, I'll hand it over to you, and I really appreciate you bringing this to us as part of what we're doing and as part of our series. Folks, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box as well and use that there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Will. Really appreciate the introduction. And this is, I'll just be honest, like I'm really, this is like a personally rewarding moment for me to get to blend my time as faculty with the A&M school. I'm still teaching online with the school and love being an online instructor. And as Will said, done lots of work with Will, taught many capstones at the school. So real passion for nonprofit and philanthropic communities. I teach nonprofit management and also I've led quite a few capstones with probably some people that might even be on this call and some of the different organizations. So a real pleasure. And I just am so excited to get to introduce Gaby Jordan. This is a real treat for everyone on this call. I'm going to have some really neat discussions and hopefully walk away with some new skill sets for executives and staff in this space. And I'm going to keep it short because I want Gaby to have the whole time to really get us straight into the content. But Gaby is a highly skilled coach. She does incredible work within organizations, communities, families. She is our senior vice president of our corporate division, but does incredible work with groups and, across all kinds of organizations, including working for federal agencies and various local kinds of government in various places. So looking forward to having, and she can fill in also other things she's done, but it's a real pleasure to introduce her. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you, Will, right? And thank you all for being here. And I really will encourage you to come on video if you can, because the intention of today is really to be an interactive session. And so you'll get to participate both orally and in the chat, as Will said. And then if you would throw in the chat where you're coming from, either, location or what nonprofit you're with, or even if you're not, we allow everyone in here, though we've, cast it as nonprofit leadership. It really is, we welcome everyone. And one of the things that we started when we started at Stanford Business School, they mentioned the few places that we've been, we actually started with exec ed for nonprofit leaders. So I am thrilled to be here, Texas A&M, with all of you. And today is really an opportunity for dealing with where you are today and then looking at the future and creating. And as coaches at the Handel Group, we really do have a commitment that people be living their best life, that they be dreaming and fulfilling on those dreams. And so part of that is really being able to create. And we have a mission to get people honestly happy, not like Facebook or Instagram happy, but honestly happy, which is really proud, inspired in what they're doing. And those of you who are in the nonprofit sector, it is, you're already mission driven, right? I mean, there's a reason that you're there. And so it's critically important that you be inspired, remain inspired, so that you can really be doing your best work, so you can be doing the best contribution that you can. And so that is why it's really great to be here with you, and great to be able to share some tools with you to keep you going, okay? To keep you going. So with that said, let's see. Oh, you should know my other backgrounds. I'm a lawyer, right? So I practiced law for 15 years. I was a litigator in Midtown Manhattan. I am not currently in Midtown Manhattan, though that's where I live. I've actually been about an hour and a half north of the city since March 16th, trying to lessen the curve down there. So that's where I currently am, in a little bit of upstate New York. Anyway, so one of the things that we know is that we have instruction manuals for everything. You notice that we have instruction manuals for everything. What we don't really have instruction manuals for is how to live our life, right? So where's the instruction manual for that? So one of the things that we really are committed is that people get tools to be able to live their life as effectively as they can, right? And so we've been teaching for over 20 years teaching people how to learn to human better, right? So that's what we call it, learn to human better. And really, that using human as a verb is quite intentional, because it gives you a different kind of power. So today we're going to be giving you some tools relative to that. And in the workshop, we're also going to give you a small taste of what we have as an online platform called Inner You Career, which puts our entire method online so that you can do it anywhere. And then in the workshop itself, we're going to give you a small section, a small taste of it, so that you can start to see what tools are there and hopefully want more, right? So first of all, today is about you, right? Today is about you and having you have what you want. And we're going to be doing some coaching today, and we're going to be doing some creating, and as I said, interaction. And it would be really great, to see as many of you as possible. And sometimes it's not possible for people to come on screen, but if you do, just know we don't care what it looks like in the background. We don't care what you're wearing. We don't care if you just got out of the shower. I promise you, we don't care. Aaron, hi, nice to see you. Okay, so in the workshop, we're going to be doing a couple of things. So one of the things is to wake up your dreams, like really, and especially now, to have you meet your current dreams advisory board, or the advisors. And for those of you in academia, you know what that means, meeting your advisors, who are the ones who are running the show, to suggesting what you should be doing, right? To take a look at your fingerprints on the crime scene, if you will. Another way of saying that is to look where you might be doing a disservice to your own dream, to your own vision, to the own that you want. Then we're going to talk about personal integrity, and we hopefully will find your sense of humor to the extent it's gone missing, okay? So those are the things we're going to be doing here. Oh, the other thing I want to tell you is that I won't be using slides. Why I'm not using slides is I want it to be interactive. And after the fact, you'll be able to get the slides so that you have the content we covered. So don't worry about that. If you registered, you'll get them, okay? So given the short time that we have today, one of the things that I want you to look at, what we want to look at, is dreaming. And we want to first start with a concept for Handel Group that is critical in life, which is that you are the author. You really do get to say. And so the first thing I'm going to ask you to share is places that you have authored. So when you're an author, you've made something happen. You said, come hell or high water, you're going to have this happen, and you did it. And it could be anything from running a marathon, to losing weight, to gaining weight, to taking care of a sick parent, to taking care of a special needs child, like something that you said, I'm going to make that happen, and you made it happen. So let's hear from you. Just come off mute and just share, what did you author? What have you made happen? Because you said, I'm going to do it, and you did it.
running a marathon.
Running a marathon. Let me see. Where are you? I can't. Oh, you're on a phone. Okay.
I'm on my phone. I'm sorry.
No worry. It's okay. And thank you for sharing, even though you're on the phone. Yay, you. Okay. Running a marathon.
I said too, running a marathon and keeping my child in private education as a single mom.
Awesome. Beautiful. Yes. You and my mother did the same thing. Beautiful. Awesome. Not the marathon part. Okay, great. Who else? Thank you. And what's your name? Because I only see a phone number.
Michelle.
Michelle. Thanks so much, Michelle. All right, great. Who else? Who else? What'd you make happen? You said, I'm going to do it, and I made it happen.
Hi, this is Kemi.
Hi, Patty. Nice to see
you. I said I was going to get a coaching certification, something I always wanted to do, super hard, a little bit scary, and
you did it. Beautiful. Thank you. Who else? And if you're not going to speak it, then put it into the chat. What'd you make happen?
How do I put my phone back on mute?
Oh, that is it.
I don't want the background.
Madison, maybe you could do it. Or I did it. There we go. Great. Now you're on mute. Thanks, Michelle. Good. Who else? What'd you make happen? You said, I'm going to do it, and you did it. You all have them. I know you do. Do not be shy.
I'll go.
Great.
Hi, I'm Robbie. I'm one of the professors at the Bush School.
Awesome. Hi, Robbie.
So, something that we were shocked that we were able to do was when we moved to Georgia, we didn't know anybody. We started a summer camp for kids in foster care.
Beautiful.
With no knowledge of anybody and nor resources. So
awesome. Beautiful.
That was a team effort.
Perfect. Yeah. Right. And so some of the stuff that you made happen, it's not that you did it on your own, but you either had the vision or participated in the vision. You said, go, I'm going to make this happen. And when you do, and you all have them, and I'd love for you all to be willing to share what you made happen. Don't be embarrassed. It's the time you get to brag, and it's your first opportunity to interact after you said who you were. Throw it in the chat, right? Throw it in the chat. Okay. Who else? Another person.
Hi.
Hi, Julie.
Yes. I've lost 35 pounds.
Awesome.
And it's been a struggle because of being quarantined and at home all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I haven't gained any, and I've lost a couple pounds, and then, it's fluctuated. Yep. I just feel fantastic.
Beautiful. That important, right? Important for us to know, right? In the face of everything that's happening, we can still take care of ourselves. We can still keep going with what we want to be doing. And the point is that you really are saying, I got to do that. And so I know that you all have that, right? And then, so sometimes it's easier to remember the things that we actually did make happen, right? So it's easier, but the other, often we get stuck. So I wanted to have you take a look for a moment, and actually look at one area of your life. And then we call this designing your summer. So designing your summer, it could be your summer. It could be how you want your summer to go, but it could be in some other area of your life. And so in the inner you, we actually look at 12 areas of your life. But given the short time we're here together, we're only going to look at one area of your life. So I'd actually like you to pick one area of your life that you want to play with for purposes of this workshop. And Jenny, yes, if you could put up the areas of life so that people can actually see their different choices, right? So in inner you, you have all of these, but today you're just going to pick one. So there's the area of yourself, there's your body, there's love, there's spirituality, your career, your money, time, home, family, friends, fun and adventure, community, and contribution. So it can be in any of those areas. So I'd like everyone to pick one area that you'd like something to happen, that you might not, and here's the catch about this area. It might not be something that's terrible, but it could be better. Right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, it's somewhere below an 8, right? So everybody have an area? You can take that off now, Jen. Thanks. Everybody has an area? Yes, no? Anybody not? I'll come chase you if you don't have an area. Okay, good. All right, good. I'm trusting that you all do. All right, so here's the thing. If I asked you today, what your career dream is, or your community dream, or your body dream, more than likely you'd be somewhat mystified, right? You'd be able to tell me what you don't want, right? We're very good at saying what we don't want. Often we're not as great at saying what we do want, right? And the better that we can get at saying what we really do want, and the more specific we can get about it, the more effective we'll be. And so one of the things you want to really start playing, and we don't get trained in this. This is not something that gets taught. One of the reasons that Handel does what it does is because we want to bring these tools to traditional education. So often we don't dream big because we're afraid that if we really do dream big, we might not be able to make it happen, right? And so it's not just now because the pandemic or everything else is going on in the world, but if we actually admitted what our dream was, we actually might have to go for it. And that's scary, right? So what dreaming actually does is it wakes us up to ourselves. It has us remember, it gets us in the right light, right? It allows us to fight the right fight. And that's what we want to really do. And what happens when you create a dream is you also get to see the traffic in the way, right? The obstacles, the stuff that's stopping you. And that's really excellent because when you get to see the obstacles, you get to do what you need to do to get around them. But it really does start with the dream. So everybody having picked an area, so the next assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to actually say, okay, in this area of life, and throw some areas in. You don't have to say specifically, but just throw in the area in the chat. What's the area you want to work on? And let's just hear a couple of people say. Come off mute and just say, what's the area you want to work on? We have some body and career, friends, family, fun and adventure, spirituality, work, school, home, body, self, career. Okay, good.
That was home in all caps, Gaby.
Okay, home.
Oh, and time in all caps.
Very good. Very good. Yes. Okay, good. All right. So here's the thing that we want you to do. I want you to take that area. I want you to imagine it is now July 2021, a year from now, and you have just what you want in that area. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 9 or a 10, and you've got just what you want. And so I'm going to give you, and you're going to write a couple sentences around that, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. So the one thing is you want to be very specific and capture what it looks like and feels like. You want to write it in the present tense. You want to have it be a stretch, but not a pipe dream. Like, I'm not asking you to grow a monkey tail, but it's a stretch, but something that's doable. Don't worry that you don't know how to do it, but just have it be a stretch for yourself. Focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. Okay? And then be honest and be willing to admit what you actually want. And the thing about it is if you're specific and if you actually capture what your vision looks like and feels like so that you can really see it, it will inspire you. It could even scare you a little bit. It could give you goosebumps, right? And that's really sort of our test. Like if it gives you goosebumps, is it exciting for you, right? And the reason that you want to write it in the present tense is it adds to your power and it actually makes you feel accountable now, not in the future, but now. And then when you're writing your dream, focusing on what you do want and not what you don't want, you want to do that because if you focus at what you don't want, it's kind of like watering the weeds. You don't want to do that. You really want to have your target set for what you do want because it pulls your mind there and that makes a huge difference. And then be, straight about what you really want. The other thing is with this, keep breathing, right? Because sometimes when you write a big dream, it's a little bit scary. So keep breathing and it's okay. All right. And then so anything that you are learning to do takes practice. So I'm going to read you some examples. I'm going to read you a career dream and then see if you can hear what might be missing in this. So here, this is a career dream that we had put up. So I will stop being frustrated by my team, especially my boss and her crazy requests. I'll actually like going to work and the things I get to do. The people I work with, even remotely, will be decent and not work me to the bone. They'll stop making so many requests of me all day, and we'll actually get to the end of this crisis in one piece, able to get back to business as usual sooner than later. I'm able not to be bored or scared anymore. Okay, so as you can imagine, that's not the best dream. It's better than what the person currently has, but not necessarily inspiring. It's more like, what can I tolerate to get through? Okay, so you want to start to look to see, is there anything of that in the dream that you just wrote? Because it might actually be polluting it. Okay, so, and when you have a dream like that, you don't want the negatives. You don't want what's not so good. You don't want it to be apparent what's not so good right now, because you want it to motivate you, to inspire you, to make you take the right actions to actually make your dream happen. Okay, so now let me give you the rewritten version. Okay, so here's the rewritten version of that. Okay. I lead an exceptional team of humans that share a commitment to empower people to live their best life and impact the planet. I'm an inspired supporter of the stakeholders in my community who need guidance as they map out their next steps. I'm wildly supportive of our constituents, fun, and a great listener. Our office is a tight-knit community of people who care for each other and our stakeholders. I lead my staff with grace and inspired wisdom. Our communication is awe-inspiring. We ride the wave of the pandemic on high, building even stronger connections and programming. We are heroes. Thanks. So can you hear the difference in that dream? Can you hear the difference in that dream? So let's hear some of yours. Who's a brave soul who's willing to say? All you have to do is read your dream. What'd you write?
I'll start.
Excellent.
Okay. Mine was short and sweet.
Okay, good.
I see more focused contributions, including successful impacts on local nonprofits and measurable change in targeted populations.
Okay, beautiful. Can I coach you a little bit?
Sure.
Awesome. So what you want to do is you actually want to put yourself in the dream, because right now you have what you're observing, right? Which is a nice thing to see, but it's not like, okay, where am I in that? What am I going to make happen? So you want to include what you're causing to get there, and also include how it makes you feel, so that you're really inspired, because otherwise you're waiting for that to happen and hoping that it will, right? As opposed to, who am I going to be in the matter? And maybe you're going to get a team together, and maybe you're going to start to cause things to actually have that happen. All right?
All right.
Awesome. Thank you. It says a bond. I don't know is that your first name or?
Alcy is my first name.
Alcy. Okay. Thank you, Alcy, for going first. Yay, you.
Thank you.
Of course. Who else?
Gabby, I'll go, and mine's probably a little bit off the grid. 28 years ago, I started officiating high school football, and there were a lot of guys in the chapter above me with a lot of experience, and I always looked up to them for guidance, for mentorship, and things of that nature.
Yes.
And through the course of the years, I've now found myself in that position where the younger guys come in and start looking at me.
Yeah.
And my dream was to be the go-to guy in officiating.
Yes.
And it's like you say, it's scary in the fact that I better have the right answers when these guys come to me. I better lead by example on the field. Yes. And it's scary to know that the pyramid has come to a pinnacle where the buck stops with me.
Yes.
So, my field that I chose was fun and adventure because I officiate on the side when I'm not at my real job.
Okay.
And that's got me.
And what's the dream that you wrote? What'd you write?
To be the go-to guy in officiating.
Okay, beautiful. All right, let me coach you a little bit.
Sure.
So when you, and this is for everybody, right? So I'm coaching one person, you map it onto your own. Okay. So what you would do is, I am the go-to guy in officiating, right? It puts you on the hook in a different way.
I see that. Sure.
Yep. And then you can also, so I'm the go-to guy in officiating, and I love having the answers. And if I don't have them, I'll find them, right? Like, so it's have the right answers or find them. The point is you're including what you're out to cause and why you're out to cause it. And then there might be something about being proud about being able to give back, having looked up to whoever it was before.
Sure.
Something, right? And so all of that as a way of really getting you jazzed for what you're trying to create.
I was just gonna add something. I thought, like, I make dream. I'm not sure what you're officiating, but you can even add something like, I make others' dreams come true, or like something that really gives you those goosebumps. Like, what, when you said the go-to guy, what is it about who you are that really inspires others? And then you really elevate yourself, and it's super exciting. Just one thought.
I like that. Thank you.
Beautiful. You're quite welcome. All right, good. All right. So now what you're going to do, everyone, is you're actually going to look at your current reality. You're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So what you've written as your dream is your 9 or 10. And presumably this is an area where you don't quite have everything you want. So it's likely less than an 8. So, but a 10 is like amazing, incredible. It's not getting any better. A 1 is, oh my God, this ain't happening. I'm out of here, right? So put the number of where you are. Okay, so you write that number. And then you want to say, I'll give you a second to think, write the number. A low number is not a bad number, don't worry. Oh, and everybody put your numbers in the chat. Just put your number of where you currently are in the chat. And if you're in considering the numbers, here's what you want to consider. You want to rate yourself where you are today in comparison to the dream. And so, for example, if your career dream is that you're going to win the Nobel Prize in literature, and the last thing you've written is your grocery list or a text to your mother about why you haven't called her, you're probably going to be a 2 or a 3. Okay? So you want to get straight about where you really are, because that really gives you power in just assessing. It's just for you. There's no, Okay. All right. So you're looking at, why are you rating yourself like that? Okay. Very good. Okie dokie. Perfect. Good. Now you're writing a few sentences about why that's the case. Why are you at the number that you're at? And this, you don't have to write beautifully. You should write whatever the truth is, like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I haven't looked at this in 47 years, like whatever it is, just write, write a few sentences about your current reality, describing how it currently is. Great. Okay, good. So you can, who'd like to share?
This is Jeff. I'll share.
Great. Thanks, Jeff.
So I had a couple different things, so I'm going to kind of combine both of those,
Okay.
the obstacles of all those.
Okay.
Stress with my family.
Got it. Oh, what's the area?
So it was body and career.
Okay, body and career. Okay, good. Thanks. Okay. So stress with your family.
Yeah. So like, for example, I had to get off the call where you're explaining the dream because my wife was yelling mercilessly at my children for I don't know what. And I had to tell them to be quiet because I couldn't even hear what you were talking about.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, so that's one.
Okay.
I think money is kind of a smaller factor, but still a factor in that.
Okay.
With career, it's more organizational obstacles.
Okay.
Like not quite being able to navigate through the system in a way that is conducive to helping these things happen. And then with some things, it's really not being not sure where to start.
Okay, so I can't figure out where to start. I can't navigate the system, which there's probably more to that. Like there's some block that you think, or like I don't either don't know the system, or those people are a pain in the butt and they don't, they don't make it
Right.
easy, and like they're not consistent with whatever my dream is. I want everybody to get the message. This is the part you complain. You put in, dog, dirt, whatever it is, put that stuff right here so that you can really hear it in all its lovely glory. Okay? because it's going to provide you something, right? The straighter you are about it. All right, good. So other people so who else? Oh, Olga, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olga Boudreau. I am a second-year student at the Bush School. I am a Fulbright scholar, originally from Moldova, Eastern Europe. I have chosen career, of course, because I'm at the age in which I have to make sure that I have a brightful career. I have chosen 7. 10 years ago, I didn't know English at all.
Yes.
Now I am a Fulbright scholar at the Bush School, at one of the most prestigious institutions in the United States from my perspective.
Yes.
And I'm about to help I am currently helping to establish the Space Governance Research Center at Texas A&M University. We are currently working on we are doing like the most important steps. So I would say I'm pretty close to my goal.
Okay. All right. So you're pretty close. So what's the rating? What's the number?
7.
7. All right. You said that already. All right. And why is it not a 9 or a 10?
Because we didn't establish the center yet. We still have work to do, fundraising and all the bureaucracy.
We have fundraising to do. We haven't established the center. We're not there yet. Okay, good. Beautiful. Thank you. Good. Who else? Who else? Reasons you're not at your dream. Or put them in the chat.
I'll go next.
Excellent. Thank you, Megan.
So my dream pertains to fun and adventure. And a big obstacle for me is making the conscious decision to go outside or to go read or to go spend time with family. And there are definitely times where I just scroll on social media. So I've made one step to delete Facebook. I deleted that.
Hold on before you go there. So your dream, so what's the rating of your dream, where you currently are as against your dream?
I'd say 6.
6. Okay, good. Yeah. And so the reasons are the reasons you don't go out and have fun with your family is I'm on social media. What else?
That's really it right now. I live alone.
There's also, you said I'm afraid to go out, like I'm concerned about going out. There was something about that, or I haven't made the time.
More so making the time and just feeling like low energy.
Not making the time, and I'm on social media, and I'm an addict on social media, whatever that is. Okay. Anything else that should be in there?
No.
Okay, good. Perfect. Good. Who else?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Who else? What are the reasons you're not at your dream? Or put it in the chat. Come on.
Tanya, this is Tanya from Taylor's Place. I'll share.
Great. Oh, there you are, Taylor's.
My internet's in and out, so if I cut out, I'm sorry.
Got it. No worries.
My area is work. I would like to transition out of my full-time paying job to focus on my husband and I's nonprofit. I feel like we're currently at a 1 because I don't see how we can afford to do it. And I just can't seem to, I get ideas of how we can transition that, but just can't ever quite get there, and just don't know how to make it happen.
All right. We don't know how to make it happen. We can't get there. What else did I miss?
Can't afford it.
Can't afford it. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, perfect. Good. All right, good.
Yeah,
Thank you. I know, it's so annoying. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So here is, and this is for everyone, so make sure that you've written down your reasons, right? So I have, now that you've written your dream, explained your rating, explained yourself, I have some good and bad news for you. So, and that is, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. That's our favorite catchphrase, right? Which is intended, right? The bad news, right, is that what isn't working, maybe it's you, but that's the good news. That really is the good news, because if it's you, you can do something about it, right? If it's the economy's fault, if it's the pandemic's fault, if it's your virtual boss's fault, if it's your metabolism's fault, it puts the power in somebody else's hands. But if it's you, you can really do something about it. So the same way that you did, in those areas of life where you authored and you made it happen, right? You were really the one in power. So how is that, as I said, how is it good news? If you can get to see where you've done what you've done to get there or not get there, you get to really own your own reality. Right? You get to realize that you can do something about it, just like you did in the areas that you've authored. And so one of the things is seeing where you've authored before and knowing that you've authored before. But here's the other thing. We say that in any area of your life, when on a scale of 1 to 10, you're less than an 8, there's one of 3 voices at play. So see where they are for you. By the way, we're not exempt. We have them all too. One is the voice of the chicken. You're just afraid, like it's too risky. I better not do it. If I do it, something bad will happen, or something might happen that I don't know how to deal with. So that's really the voice of fear, which that voice, that critical voice, it really squashes your dreams and makes excuses for what's not working in your life, right? And so the second voice is the voice of the brat. The brat is the entitled 4-year-old in an adult body saying, I don't want to, and you can't make me. Even if you are the one trying to make you do something, you're still a brat where you are. So it's like you know that you should be exercising, but it's raining outside. How could I possibly go for a run? You know you want to make something happen at work. But it means having a conversation with that person. Oy, I don't know about that person. No. I shouldn't have to tell that person. They should know what to do. Sometimes when it sounds like an issue, or you had an annoyance with someone, it looks like you walk in, you had a scuffle, and then you get to your desk, they send you an email asking for something, and you're like, yeah, later for you. Do it later. That's the brat. So just notice where it's the brat, and where then the third voice is the voice of the weather reporter. You're reporting on life as if it's the weather, and there's nothing I can do about it. And then sometimes it's really the facts are the facts, but what I want you to see is way more often than you think you can do something about it. So even where there are structural challenges, even where it looks like the system is set against you, there are the conversations that you need to be having. There is where you feel like you're trapped, but you're not having the conversations, or you're not getting alignment with people. So you want to look to see, where are you allowing yourself to get stopped by something? And believe you me, especially in the nonprofit world, there is a, nonprofits, we don't have any money, we can't do, like that is something that is extant, right? It is just like a thing, except there is where you're going to bring creativity to it, where you're going to find, what do I need to do to actually get people engaged and move something. So you want to particularly listen to, where are those voices in relation to your dream, so that you can actually take action to overcome them. We'll talk about that in a second, but I first want you to start hearing those voices. Okay, so let's hear now look at what you've written as the reasons you don't have what you don't have, and tell me where you see a chicken, a brat, or a weather reporter. Let's hear.
This is Jeff again.
Hey, Jeff.
The answer is yes. So all four of mine are qualify as one of these voices.
Yes. So say which is which. And the reason I'm asking, not just you, but asking everyone to identify them, when you start noticing where you're being a brat, a chicken, or a weather reporter, it's like a light bulb goes off and you say, oh, I didn't realize that I'm doing, right? And then you have choices. So Jeff, let's hear yours.
Yeah, I think, not sure where to start fits in with the weather reporter. I mean, I don't think it's really the brat or the fear, although there could be some fear with that, not sure where to start as being fear of taking the wrong step.
Yes, I do actually think it starts with fear. So and these voices play with one another, right? So when you're fearful of something, and so you don't take a step because you're worried about a misstep, and then things don't change, it then becomes the weather, like, see, there's no difference. When in fact, underlying it was, I didn't actually take a step just because I thought it was be the wrong one. And so the antidote to that is actually taking bold actions, notwithstanding the fact that you don't know. But we'll talk more about the what to do later, but that's good. And what else do you hear?
Organizational obstacles.
Okay.
So the brat piece of it, you can't make me, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to talk to that person, all those sorts of things kind of come into play with that. Just, helping to change a process and having multiple people involved in that. And some people are, they're people that put their heels in the sand. And so you put your heels in the sand too, and then nothing happens.
Right. Good. Yeah. So it's perfect. So you have two brats, and then it becomes weather, because that structural challenge is weather. It is like, it just is that way, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Yeah. Perfect.
Right.
Just to jump in, having worked in public organizations for 20 years, it is just too easy to throw your hands up in the air and say, this is as good as it gets. This is public bureaucracy, and then like Brat, everyone's like, the brat is like, I'm not going to be the one to fix it. It's not my problem,
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
It's in the nonprofit, we hear so much. I was on last week's webinar with the center, and we hear over and over, like, people like, we're screwed, right? Like, nonprofits, money's not coming in, et cetera. It's very easy to get caught up in that voice.
Yeah. Good. Good. All right. Who else? Thank you, Jeff. Oh, by the way, the family stresses, there are conversations which need to happen.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that is both, that can be both chicken, like, do I really, why do I have to have these? That's the brat. Like, why do I have to have these conversations? The chicken could be the fear of having, what if they say no? What if they just refuse? Right. And so there really is an opportunity for how to deal with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, good. Who else? What are the things that you see that the obstacles for you getting your dream? So we have some people who said chicken, weather reporter, right? And you want to hear what you hear, like fear about, being the guy, right? Like, what if I've missed it? Let personal issues bleed over into games that distract my attention. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So that's really being able to see where you're causing your own reality by not going for it and having the fear, right? Like, let's just go for it and let's see what happens. All right, good. Who else? Who'd like to share? My brave souls. Because you really want to start to get to know your voice. Hey, Lori. Okay, who else? The more you can identify it, the easier it's going to be to actually deal with it. Chicken. Okay, thank you, Terry. Terry, you want to say a little bit what that chicken sounds like?
Um, I would love to have fun over it. I was just like a week's vacation. But my husband and I both work in nonprofits, so our area is East Coast. I mean the Gulf Coast, and we hit hard for the last 4 years, and it just seems like we just can't get a break.
Yes.
Literally a break.
Yes.
I think we both need it.
Yeah.
Badly. I'm still reeling from Harvey.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so is the other folks, but it just seems like, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. There's something that you need. That could also, you're right, be chicken, right? Like, you know what you need and you need to take it. And then the feel like you're not getting in trouble. I promise that is not happening. Right. But the cost to you, if you don't take that break, is that you're not going to be who you can be. Right. You're not going to be as resilient as you need to be if you do not take care of yourself. And so that's an important piece. Okay. And so it's really important and thank you for sharing. Right. And then it's like, of course, like we could say, poor Terry, feel bad, except that's not going to get you what you want. It's not going to get you what you need. And so that's one of the important things, is actually being able to go for it, like stake in the ground, not obnoxious, but knowing that you need to do what you need to do to take care of yourself, which is get a break. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. Okay, good. All right, good. So we have others like not knowing where to start, being the chicken, or how to start, or being paralyzed. Yes. Very good. Yeah, very good. Okay. So, all right, great. So now what do we do about that? So one of the keys to personal happiness, right, is one of our favorite topics, which is personal integrity. So personal integrity obviously is something that we get more into, inside of Inner You and any of the coaching that we do. But the idea of it is to make and keep a promise to yourself that's a match with your dreams, right? So it's the alignment of your head, your heart, and your body. Your heart determines your desires. Your mind puts a plan in action, and your body actually takes the actions. So it really is the secret sauce, not only to happiness, but success, right? So if you ever notice what happens, like if somebody else is dependent on you for something, they're going to get it. When you are dependent on you for something, maybe not so much. Maybe you're last on the list. Not maybe. You really typically we are last on the list. So for example, if you said to a friend, I'll pick you up at 3:00, right? You don't mean if nothing better came along, right? But when it comes to a promise to yourself, like I'm going to blog, I'm going to tweet daily, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, maybe that doesn't happen because other things get in the way and you become last on the list. So you actually feel more guilty about not doing something for someone else, but forgetting who you are. It's kind of like, Terry, what you were saying in terms of the break that you need to take, right? Last on the list. I'm going to keep working hard because it needs, no, but you got to remember yourself, right? And so, if your friend had a monster friend or employee or colleague had a monster presentation and you were supposed to, support them and actually getting them to practice, you wouldn't leave them hanging, but yourself, you leave hanging. So that's where you want to really look to say, and that is inconsistent. That's not personal integrity for you and what you're out to create in the world. And so you want to get very clear about where you don't keep promises to yourself. So I'm going to show you how to get into integrity for yourself. And then, but first, in doing that, you really want to hear your favorite brand of excuses, because those same excuses that came up in this area come up in other areas of your life. And so it's important to be able to hear them so that you can do something about them. Okay. Jen, anything you want to say? Oh, you're on mute. It's okay. I thought you did. No worries. Okay, good. So notice what those.
Sorry, I was having trouble getting between screens. I wanted to mention just quickly that there was a couple questions from Ron around the alignment of the head, the heart, everybody. And I think Mackenzie did a great job not making a synopsis, but just making sure that we got that covered for everybody.
Yes, please. Right. So the personal integrity is consistency between your head, your heart, and your body. And that is, your heart comes up with the desires, your head makes the plan of action, and your body actually carries that out. And so when you're living in personal integrity, it is acting consistently with those aspects of your life, incorporating them all. Okay. Ron, does that answer that? I don't know where Ron is, so I don't see him. He's on another screen.
Yes, ma'am, that answered it.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, good. So other questions before I move on of anything I've said so far? Okay, and if you have them, put them in the chat and we'll get them answered. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you make that happen? Well, we call it going to the promised land, and you don't need an airplane, right? And so the structure for accountability, we have a way for you to get into personal integrity for yourself. It has 3 elements. You need to make a promise, have a consequence, and have a buddy. Okay, so let's look at promises first. So when you're making a promise, I want you to look at the particular area of your life that you're playing with, the dream that you're playing with, and come up with 1 or 2 promises that would move you up the scale, that moves you up the scale into making it happen. Okay, so 1 is you want to be realistic, right? You want to make a realistic promise. So if you were running a marathon and you're a couch potato, I would not make a promise called, I'm going to run for 5 hours a week. Bad plan, right? You want to make it a stretch, something you're not doing now, but something that you actually could do. So a stretch, but doable. Realistic, again. Be specific. Make sure you use powerful language, not I hope maybe I will. No. I'll run 3 times a week for 20 minutes. I'll have 1 conversation every day with someone I don't know. I'm going to give you some examples later, but you want something specific like that. And also manage the external world. That is to say, if you're going to a place that has no internet, you don't promise that you're going to tweet 3 times a day, right? Or, you need to watch your food and you're getting on an airplane or a long car ride, pack some food, or don't make a promise that you're going to have fresh meals on the road. Okay, so you want to manage the stuff that's going on around you. Okay, so in being realistic, you really want to be able to believe it's going to happen, right? So promising to win the lottery is not a good plan, right? Might not be the best of all promises. Stretching yourself, do something that you've been putting off. Do something immediately that came to mind the minute I said, what have you been putting off? Be specific. Make sure your promises are loophole free so that you don't get out of it. So you ask yourself the question, how long will I do it? How often will I do it? How many times? Any of those things can help you make the promise more specific and quantifiable. And using powerful language, not sincerity, right? You're not like hope, try, wish. And then here's the thing, you got to get the inside joke. Here's the inside joke. The more you resent having to make and keep promises, the more you need that very promise. So make sure that it's something that, if you need it, you make it and do it now. Don't wait to do it. So I'm going to give you some examples of some career promises, right? So that you can start to hear what that looks like. So an example, I'll check in on each of my staff members weekly to make sure they feel supported and that we have an open line of communication while we remain quarantined. I'll spend 2 hours a day. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. I'll spend 2 hours a day on Monday morning designing my week. I'll add in all my activities in my calendar to ensure progress on my unit's strategic objectives. I'll schedule a weekly check-in with the executive director to stay connected and deal with any client challenges as they come up. Okay, all specific. Okay, So let's hear a couple of yours. What are some promises you know will take you up the scale if you made them? What would you say? Who'd like to go or raise your hand? We want to make sure you're going to get what you want.
Or add them to the web chat.
Or add them to the web chat. What's a good promise you know will take you up the scale in that area?
I'm wondering if Ron's got one.
I know, I was just thinking about Ron.
I'm dying to hear what you got, or also Jeff, since you guys have been so active.
All right, I'll quit typing and just share it with you.
Great.
After 28 years of officiating, I will read the rule book every Sunday night, pick a new rule, and know that rule. Know the plays that lead to it, what could come out of it, and then be able to share that rule with my new guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I just want to make sure that that's realistic, like that you're not taking on something that's too big.
No, it's very realistic, very doable.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Great. All right, Jeff, I'm back to you. This is Debbie. You up.
I think for me, it'd be making a list of all the possible places to start.
Okay.
By a given deadline, whether that's by end of week or beginning of next week, something like that. And then be able to prioritize what would possibly be the next first step, and then taking action on that step.
Okay, good. So I'm going to put you on the spot and just ask you to give me a date. I don't care what date it is, but it's a date, because if you say by the end of this week or next week, by Monday. Did you say Monday? All right, perfect. Great.
Monday.
So make a list of what's possible by Monday, and then by when will you prioritize things that you could do?
Wednesday.
Perfect. Rock
Let
on.
me just jump in, since I'm the queen of making lists that I don't finish. I would also ask Jeff to say, and I will pick, like the next step would be, and I will then work on one at a time, or pick the top two. By Friday, I will have made X action, you know, so that it's not like, oh, because the next thing will happen is go, oh my God, my list is so big. Right.
Yeah. You know, I think for me, because I've talked about like putting this in a Gantt chart, making like a project plan type of thing, and then it becomes too overwhelming. So I think just getting to the point where I can like begin that plan is really the best course of action.
Beautiful. Perfect. Perfect. Good. Okay, good. And then you sometimes, if you have a lot of things on your list, you give yourself a time that you're going to spend, rather than, you know, like, and then you can always add. Okay. All right, good. So now here's the thing. How do you keep those promises, right? Because sometimes promises sound like New Year's resolutions. They sound excellent, great. And then you don't do them. And then 2 weeks goes by, and then all you do is feel bad about yourself. And then you're suffering, decline, not interested in the suffering part, okay? So as you recall, the second part of the equation says there's a promise, a consequence, and someone to hold you accountable. Now, we have consequences. They're natural consequences that happen all the time. So to the extent that you don't do any of the things you say, things will stay the same. That's a natural consequence. That is insufficient to get where you want to go. And so that's why we put in artificial consequences of your design in areas that make a difference to you that you can implement. So here's some examples of some consequences. Jenny's going to put up that screen. So for the example, for the first one, I'll check in with staff members to ensure they feel supported, right? Or I'll throw $5 on the ground. Money, embarrassment, and your vices are excellent consequences. They're not punishments, but there's something that's going to remind you as an incentive to keep your promise. So the first one, I'll throw $5 on the ground, right? I'll spend 2 hours on Monday morning designing my week, and I'll add all activities to my calendar to ensure progress. Or I'll give up wine on the weekend. Make sure it's something you care about. If somebody, for example, I have a client who was a beer drinker who was horrified by having to give up his beer. I don't drink beer. I do not care. I drink wine. Now we are talking. So make sure that you care about that. The third one is I'll schedule a weekly check-in with my executive director, blah, 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 or I'll clean out my hall closet. Okay? So make sure that it's something that actually will work for you. Okay? And that will be an incentive and remind you. So then the third part, so everybody should write one down. What's it? Or lose Netflix, or lose your coffee, or lose social media. Those are all good ones.
I'm going to jump in with one as you're writing. I had a friend who was always coming home late from work. And so her husband had a poker game that she can't stand. And so for every minute she's late, I think she had to put $10 in. It's something, it basically was like maybe a $20 fine, you know, for their family, that she had to literally walk and put it in his poker jar. And she was late 3 more times and she was done. That was a really painful consequence.
That's great. That's great.
Trying to quit smoking, and you know, the idea of like throwing money on the ground was too hard for many of us. That would be way too hard, especially the nonprofit space. But she was going to have to donate it to a group that she couldn't stand, like it was against her ideology. And I won't even go there with an idea because we don't want to get into politics these days. But she never touched a cigarette again. Awesome. You know, the thought of even a $5 contribution.
Beautiful. So, all right. So throw into the chat what a good consequence would be for you, because it's really powerful when you have that. Okay. It's really powerful when you have that. And then the third piece is a buddy, someone to hold you accountable. And this is not like your drinking buddy who like has all your same bad habits and will just say, oh, you poor thing. Of course I understand. No. This is somebody who actually cares about you having what you say you want. So get right. But you know what? That's a great one, hot chocolate, right? So losing your hot chocolate or losing your chocolate milk, perfect, right? And you know what? Your kids, and those of you with kids, are great buddies to hold you accountable. And they love holding mommy and daddy accountable, right? And it also, by the way, offers them something in terms of development because they get to see you working on something. So it really is, it helps, and it actually inspires them. Maybe they want to take something on. So that's just a hint on that, okay? So what you need to know is just that a promise, a consequence, and someone to hold you accountable really makes a difference in you having your dream. So there's your dream, there's the integrity of what's going to make that happen, recognizing your brand of excuses, and then recognizing, okay, if I have a promise, a consequence, someone to hold me accountable, a dimension of a week's time is very valuable and very easy to do because you can also see, is it the right promise? Do I need to adjust it? But it really is a straightforward method, which we have proven years and years and years of how you can make something happen by taking the right actions, right? And so that's what is a good system for actually having you have what you want. So I want to also, so questions, or anybody have a question about their particular promise or consequence? So, oh, I see. I didn't know that. Thank you so much. Okay, good. All right. We are going to, I'm going to stay on. We thought we had a little bit more time with you, but I'm going to stay on and just give you a little bit more. So, but if any of you who need to go because you thought it was only an hour, I completely understand. And we're going to send a follow-up that will have the particular notes. It's also there's a special offer that I want you to know about. So if you can stay on for 3 minutes, I'd love you to hear about it. And that is to say, in order to actually have all this, I'm going to show you a dashboard of Inner You, so you can see Inner You Career, so you can see what it actually provides. So Inner You Career is our online platform that is a vehicle for having all of the structures in the Handel methodology. And then there's also the opportunity for those of you who want to be together in a cohort for nonprofit leaders to actually do that. So it gives you, you work on the 12 areas of your life, your career or your family life or anything you want, like those 12 areas. And then it has 12 coaching sessions, which are online. They're micro sessions with asynchronous learning. There's a free coaching call that you get it. There's a 6-week master class with a coach. There's a promise tracker for the things you have, for the things you're taking on. You get your integrity score, and you can buddy up with someone to actually support you in accomplishing this. And what we're doing, because it's nonprofits and because you participated in the workshop, and then for those of you who have people that you want to include, is we're actually giving a special offer. So it's normally $650 for lifetime access. and we're actually giving it to you for $500. And if there are enough of you who want to participate, if they're over 15 who want to participate, we'll actually do a cohort which will have all of you together. And so you can actually be doing this work and focusing on the things that you're wanting to do in a like-minded community. But we will send that out to you when we send everything else. So let me just see if there are people who have questions that I can answer before, as we wrap. You have to take.
And Gaby, also, I think there's a way that people can do a payment plan for,
yes.
right,
Totally.
might just mention that.
Yep. Definitely that too. But Jenny, bring me back to the other screen so I can see people if they have questions. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So questions about anything or comments? What'd you get out of being here today?
That I'm really not as bad as maybe I thought I was.
There you go. That's good news. And actually you have a plan for how to make happen what you want. That's really good.
Absolutely.
That's really good. Perfect. Good. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. Who else? What'd you get out of being here or questions? So the one thing I want to make sure is you're walking away with a dream, you're walking away with an actions to take, and you set yourself up in a structure. That's what I care about. And if you do that, you have the ability to make anything happen. You really do.
And can I just recommend, make sure you pick an accountability buddy that would hold you to it. So, you know, if your sister and you were working on maybe, you know, like losing weight together and like she keeps falling off, probably not the right person to choose. Like I have someone who really keeps me to account and actually will text me every morning and say, how's it going? I'm like, oh my God. So that helps me stay on track. That's a good accountability buddy, above and beyond.
I just want to throw in a thank you to you both. I think this was a wonderful session. The timing for our series and what we've been doing, it seems it was spot on. So I
Awesome.
echo sort of Tanya's comment there that the timing was perfect. I think it was a wonderful time for this. So really
Great.
appreciate all that you brought to this session. It was wonderful.
Great.
So yeah, and we can stay on and chat. Few folks
Sure.
so
Yeah. Thank you.
appreciate
Oh,
that.
I want to let people also know we have a free call that people can join at noon during the week. It's an Innovate and Create call, which is 11 o'clock your time, or if you're in Texas. And that's a call, it's a community call. You have to register because it's password protected, but that's just another resource that we make available. So, welcome to join that.
No, we have a 30 minutes. Some people were asking about additional resources, and we do have a 30-minute consultation that's inside of the chat. I think we'll follow up with Will about the notion of the cohort, but I think either reaching out to Will, Gaby, or myself, and it's Jenny and Gaby. We're both at handelgroup.com, which happy to chat about that and see about putting that together. But we'll follow up with Will as well.
Terrific. All right, you lovely people. We will let you have your day back, especially since you thought it was going to end a few minutes earlier. But, definitely available if any of you need any of us. And I just thank you for your commitment and the great work that you're doing. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Take care.